Luka Doncic is special. A maestro of the sport, he dominated the second best basketball league in the world at just 19 years old, going on to lead his team to the championship and winning finals MVP in the process. These are no ordinary achievements for a teenager. These are the accomplishments of one of the best teenage basketball players of all time. Certainly one of, if not the most accomplished teenage basketball player ever. He has dominated every competition every step of the way. So it was no surprise that he carried that into the NBA and his rookie season, where he put up historic rookie numbers and historic numbers for a player of his age. It appeared as though there wasn't anything he couldn't do, and he was just getting started.
Breaking news, we can roll it because wow, Woj has since tweeted Dallas finalizing a trade to acquire Kristaps Porzingis.
One season down, heading into the sophomore season with the new acquisition of star big man Kristaps Porzingis, expectations were even higher for Luka and the Mavs. Two all-star caliber players with plenty of upside and a willingness to work was enough to have people believing they would be in the mix for a playoff seed in the stacked Western Conference. But the Mavericks looked even better than a fringe playoff team early in the season as they jumped out the gates, putting up huge offensive numbers on the way to a 12-6 record, boasting the fourth best point differential in the league behind the Bucks, Lakers, and Raptors. A good indication of how well they started the season is just the company they were in, and this strong start to the season was largely due to the sophomore phenom Luka Doncic, who was averaging a near 31-point triple-double over that period of time. Now heading into the season, most people expected Luka would take that next step, perhaps become a 25-7-7 kind of guy, and become an all-star. But to go from a great rookie to a great player full stop was incredible, and the kind of offense he was producing for himself and the team was not just spectacular, but it was resulting in wins, which is ultimately your job as a superstar in the NBA, something he had cemented himself as very early into his career. Quickly before I get into the video, if you could drop a like and subscribe to the channel, that would be much appreciated. These videos do take quite a lot of time and effort to make, and the only way I know it's worth it is if you guys enjoy it. Other than that, let's get back into it. However, despite emerging as a superstar, a concerning pattern was beginning to emerge, and was emerging as one of the few flaws in Luka's game, particularly on the offensive end, and that was his three-point shooting. Of the top 20 scorers in the league throughout the start of the season, only Kawhi, Giannis, and Embiid were shooting worse from beyond the arc than Doncic. Now it's expected that Luka would be hitting from three at a higher rate than Giannis and Embiid. These guys were taking threes as a means of hope that it would create space for the offense, as opposed to it being a go-to weapon for them. And Kawhi was just going through a slump, which is perfectly fine. All star players go through shooting slumps. However, this was no slump for Luka. His shooting has gone from bad to worse. Fast forward to current day, Luka is still one of the league's best scorers and players, but his three-point shooting is now at a dreadful 31.2%. Yes, that guy who couldn't do anything but dunk 2 years ago is shooting the three ball at the same percentage as Luka. Looking at the top 20 scorers now, the only player shooting worse is Russell Westbrook, who stopped shooting because he can't shoot, let's be honest. Now going forward, it's important that Luka continues to shoot the ball, because teams currently treat him as though he is a capable threat from outside, and as a result of this, it leaves more space for him to get to the rim, which he has done incredibly well this season. With the spacing that the Mavs starting lineup provides, defenders have an incredibly tough time trying to help off their man to prevent Luka from putting his opponent in a blender, which he so often does if left one-on-one. I mean, we've seen him do it to the very best defenders. One-on-one, it's very hard to stop someone with his skill level, and if you help off, he has the ability to pick a pass to the likes of Tim Hardaway Jr., Seth Curry, who are fantastic off the catch and shoot. But if Luka were to pose even less of a threat from beyond the arc, then teams could potentially sit back further against him and stop him from getting to the rim at such a high rate. But how is he going to go from a bad three-point shooter to a respectable one? We aren't asking for him to hit shots at 45% or even near 40%. To hover just around the mid-30s mark would make a big difference, particularly considering he's taking 9 threes a game. Now we know Luka is the Mavs offense. They have some talented offensive players around him, but he's the man that pieces it all together and ensures that everyone gets their catch and shoot opportunities and opportunities at the rim when slashing from the 3-point line. The only player in the league with a higher usage rate is Giannis. So it's safe to say Luka controls the ball a lot. Like a lot. Something that gets underestimated in the NBA is fatigue. These players, and in particular the stars, are clearly superhuman for their combination of height and skill and athleticism, but that doesn't stop them from getting tired. Doncic is a second-year player, and he is carrying an incredible load, and it's clearly taking a toll. Just to prove the toll that it's taking, here are his numbers in the first quarter and the last quarter. The drop-off in points and field goal percentage is concerning, but the most obvious drop-off is in 3-point percentage, shooting over 35% on nearly 3 attempts throughout the first 10 minutes of the game, as opposed to just over 20% on under 2 attempts throughout the last, is a ridiculous drop-off. Now the Mavs are terrible in clutch time, and Luka has been bad in clutch time individually, as they often resort to isolation plays and long step-back threes whenever the game is tight for whatever reason, but that accounts for a small percentage of these fourth quarter minutes he's played. It doesn't account for all the other fourth quarter minutes that he's played throughout a long season. And you can't tell me that fatigue isn't the major contributing factor to this drop-off in efficiency. This isn't some small sample size, this is over the course of a season. You can even look at his rookie year to see he was shooting better from 3 in the first quarter. Now the drop-off wasn't as stark in the other quarters, but his usage rate was lower and he played less minutes, so there wouldn't have been as much notable fatigue, but it still proves the point. Now you would expect following another 1 or 2 preseasons and another season or 2 as the primary ball handler, he would become more equipped to handling such a heavy offensive load, and as a result, we might not see that huge drop-off in the last quarter. But potentially the best solution is adding a secondary playmaker, someone that can create for themselves and others, including Luka. This is important to note because Luka is so often creating for himself and others that he doesn't have the opportunity to have more chances at shooting wide open threes and shooting off the catch. I mean, the only starting guards that shoot less catch and shoot threes than him are CP3, Jar, DeRozan, and Simmons. 2 of these guys don't shoot threes at all, and the other 2 do so far less frequently. A player like a Victor Oladipo has been mentioned as a good option for the Mavs, and it does make perfect sense. His two-way ability would ensure that Doncic can be covered for on the defensive end of the floor, and we have seen Oladipo lead an offense before, so we know he is more than adept at being the secondary ball handler. I think what we're going to need to see is Luka adds more elements to his shooting game. Currently, he struggles to shoot off the catch, and you can look at his lack of repetition as a potential reason for that. Continuing to take difficult, contested, step-back threes late in the game is evidently not working for him or the Mavs, and you've got to think carrying that offensive load for 3 quarters is taking a toll on him. To add to this poor shot selection, he takes over 2 threes a game from beyond 28 feet, and is only successful on 27% of them. Another shot that isn't proving efficient for he or the Mavs, and might need to be reduced to somewhere around 1 a game, if that. Overall, if the Mavs can bring in someone like Oladipo to ease the pressure on Luka as a ball handler and let him play off the ball throughout points in the game, I would expect to see him improve at that aspect of the game. All of the best point guards do that. Look at Lillard and McCollum, Curry and Green or Durant. Even James Harden plays off-ball and has a lower usage rate than Luka. This guy's a second-year player, we have to stress this. He hasn't been in the NBA for 10 years, having 10 NBA-level preseasons, so his fitness levels are unlikely to be as strong as the other guys I previously mentioned. The Mavs really need to be looking at ways to improve this flaw in Doncic's game, because your best player and scorer struggling so much in last quarters and clutch time is not a recipe for success in the postseason when games inevitably go down to the wire. We've already seen it so far in Orlando. The Mavs have lost a pair of tight games because of their inability to make shots down the stretch, particularly in the game against the Rockets. I don't believe there is any reason to think Luka can't fix this. He's got a technically sound shot, and an okay touch from the free throw line. It's just a combination of very controllable factors that could make a huge difference for his shooting percentage and the Mavs' hopes of having more success late in games and in general going forward. If you did enjoy the video, a sub and like would be much appreciated. As I mentioned, these videos take a while to research and edit, and all I ask in return is a like because it helps with the algorithm and whatnot. Anyways, have a good day. See ya.